what can someone do to make sure that they don't deviate from what they wanted from the beginning? You get, because I wanted this, but this is what I got, and I couldn't say no because at the end of the day, I also want something for myself.
Oh yeah.
And then along the way, you start getting kidogo comfortable, and it's like it's been 6 years, and I've just been living paycheck to paycheck, and I've not even pursued that passion. Like, it's like that light just dimmed a little, you know.
Let me start with the point of trying everything.
Right.
Because it's right after campus. You're still getting your footing in the game. So, for example, your profession, you're not sure whether, or maybe you're sure of the field you want to go into, but you're not really getting into that specific field. Like if it's broadcasting, if it's print, if it's other sorts of journalism. Let me give my friend's example. She studied teaching in Kenyatta University. She did teaching in French. So for after campus, she taught in schools from 844 to the international system, the IG system.
Right.
And is it the Cambridge system? I don't know. So she started as a teacher. Of course, when she was studying, she was studying for this degree with the idea that one day I'll be a teacher and this is my passion. And she taught in some schools, and then she started tutoring some students privately. And then along the way, she didn't feel like she was satisfied.
Right.
Yeah.
Like she wanted something more.
She wanted something more out of it. Then she got an opportunity to go work in an insurance firm in the communications department. So now this is someone who started from teaching and is now working in an insurance firm in the communication department. So right now, I don't know whether she's found that fulfillment she was looking for, but I can say just by trying something else from the normal standard path, then now she's in a better position to say, okay, this is comfortable because I have this salary. This is exciting, even though the salary is not as good. Or she has options, let me say, And then now, in a scenario, maybe let's say after 6 years you've deviated from what you studied from. I think that fire in you will always spark. There'll always be something you're telling you, no, you really wanted to do this. For example, if you really wanted to do music, there'll just be that song in you. So you'll always find a way. But you can't find a way if you're just stuck in one place. Just try everything. So like an example for me, I'm an advocate. So
you're hard. So don't play with me, guys. I'm covered.
So I could try litigation, that's going to court, representing people in court. I could try the corporate side. I could try teaching side, academia, being a lecturer. I could try consultancy, where I just come, I give you your legal advice, you pay me for my time and my advice, and that's it. I could do drafting for like legal drafting, like for papers, for like new proposed laws, like Data Protection Act, something like that. I just thought of that because it's one of the new laws. You could.
Barely speaking Greek right now, but like I'm just like you have so much fire when you're speaking about it. I'm like,
so like sometimes I was in that position where actually this year I wasn't so sure, do I want to do litigation? Because where I work, we do a lot of litigation. So I was even wondering, am I just thinking of litigation because I've not tried something else? So I'd just recommend try your foot in everything. Put your best foot forward and in everything. Then that way, maybe you didn't even have an interest in something, but then you'll realize, wow, this is actually interesting. I'm actually good at it.
That gives me a whole perspective on how I viewed this.
My other point was on money. So the scenario I have in my head is you've been in campus, your parents or guardians have been helping you out, school fees, upkeep, rent, or if you're not staying, if you're staying home, you know, pocket money and stuff like that. So it's unsaid, but I've realized after speaking to my parents and even some of my uncles and aunties, there's that unsaid expectation that, okay, Sasa, you have the power to read and you have the power to make your own money. So, with terms of money, I just say, have that conversation with your guardians. Those people who've been supporting you, tell them, okay, this is where I'm at. Whether you've gotten something to do that pays you or not, talk to them, give them your idea. Sometimes I would even say after campus, you can even try doing your own thing. For example, if you are interested in agriculture, in, let me say, something like forex trading, I don't know, maybe because now you have more time to focus on things as you're just waiting for that big or that one opportunity, you'll need funding. So talk to your parents, talk to your family, and sometimes even you can just ask them for a loan. Like, okay, so now this is what I want to do. I don't have the money. Can we come to an agreement about this and this and this? It shows some level of seriousness and even responsibility, because now you have to be very responsible with money, and even just some level of thoroughness, because going back to the point of trying everything, you'll try this, okay, it's failed, but now, or it succeeded, but now you're 10 times wiser or 10 times more skilled in something. But that money factor is a conversation you have to have bluntly. Like, don't beat around the bush when it comes to money. Even after campus, let's say you've seen an opportunity, whether it's a paid or unpaid internship. If you want a paid internship, or if you've agreed to an unpaid internship but you want allowances or benefits, don't beat around the bush. Let them know from the jump. Yeah. There's also a way you learn. This is the time I think you learn how to have that conversation about money, because you're going to be in situations where a potential employer is telling you, okay, this is what we have in our budget for that role. And to some extent, because of that level of desperation or just wanting something, you tend to just go for it.
You settle for what's available.
Yes, that's the word, you settle. But and sometimes you settle because you don't know how to have that conversation about money. So I'd encourage you to have that conversation with the people around you. Like, how do I ask for this and this amount? How do I ask for funding for
from your parents?
National Youth Fund, for example?
Tricky.
Yeah. So it's something where you have to. It's a skill, by the way. No one just wakes up knowing how to make money, how to talk about money. No. You try, you learn some skills, and you go with it. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay. Let me ask, there's a lot of, like, do you feel like a lot of people who end up putting a lot of monetary pressure on themselves after campus are those who don't want to step up and have that conversation with their parents?
Sorry? Just
like a lot of people who end up, I don't say succumbing sounds like such a huge ass word, but like you succumb to that pressure, like you teseka by yourself because you're probably afraid to. Is it because a lot of people don't tend to have these conversations with their parents and their peers? I think so. You know, it's like those ones where Butu and to shike until we go to club, we have like a couple of drinks. Let's go for what is it called? What do we usually do at K1? Brunch.
Flea market,
or brunch or something like that. And then a lot of people tend to not have that conversation with their friends for like, hey, you guys, Nikomali financially where I feel like brunch can't work for me this weekend. Like, why do you feel like a lot of people don't have these monetary conversations with their friends after umetoka kwa hiyo cocoon where you know where you're financed by your friends and now we are tamaking, we're trying to get that nini.
Maybe your family is not as willing to give you money all the time like they were in. I think it's just pressure on ourselves, honestly. Right. Yeah, it's just us putting pressure on ourselves, and we need to speak up also more about it. Because that's a time when funding for some things you realize, okay, brunch on Sunday, or that money I use to go and do other things which I think are more quote unquote helpful at the moment. You need to have that conversation with yourself and also with the people around you before you can even talk to someone and tell them that, I'm not able to because this is not making sense for my pocket. You have to have it with yourself first. Yeah.
Because I like, it's in unajita boardroom. Like you call yourself, you know, and I realize a lot of people, I don't even, actually, let me just say myself, like a lot of times when I want to have somewhat of a hard conversation, I tend to not have the conversation with myself before I project it to someone else.
Yeah.
So you realize your way of expression is so, it's like, it's so blatant, like imetoka to like Blair, because we didn't have, you know what? Very good boardroom. Like, for real.
And then I think the other thing about money is just save as much as possible. My God. Yani that's the time if you can even just start a lock saving account, whether it's M-Pesa, whether it's for the bank, whether it's even for a SACCO, by the way. Just start saving. Start learning ways in how you can, places to save your money. For example, do you prefer to save it in a bank or in a SACCO or M-Pesa, for example? But just save. You can just be saving ata kama ni 100 bob per week.
Right.
Or the days when you have, the weeks when you have. But let me tell you, one day you will need that money and you'll be like, thank God I was saving for a rainy day. Yeah. So just save. It might not make so much sense to save Leo 50 bob, next month you save 200, but there's a time you will really appreciate that discipline, that effort. It will eventually show itself. Yeah. For and sure. It's also just keeping you, making you prepared for financial responsibility, because if you're expecting to earn, or you want to get a job, or you want to start a business, you want to earn this money, but you don't even know how to save it from the jump, utaji mess. So just start learning how to save with the little, and even with the much you have.
Okay. Now, before you get to your next point, we gotta talk about relationships. Not platonic ones. Tuonge like, first of all, kuna hiki pressure. Okay, now you've finished campus, now you've gotten your first kajobo. Then the aunties and the uncles, they start bringing that kind of thingy for, so natuleta mtu lini, you know, that kind of thing. Yeah. But you know, for them, because traditionally the way they were raised, there was the way or structure of doing things. Yeah. You were just expected. Yeah. But for us, I don't want to say our generation. Then comes
the marriage.
Yeah, exactly. So, but then for us, it's a kidogo different, you get?
Yeah.
At the same time, it's gonna bother you. As in, it's especially for guys. I don't know if you can speak on that points, but it's gonna bother you to some extent. Yeah. What was that like for you? Have you gone through such a thing? And if you know, or do you know someone who has? And what was that like for you?
Well, I'll speak about maybe just my friends' experiences that they've allowed me to share. Yes, there's that constraint that happens. For example, from a guy's perspective, now you're supposed to get into that whole role of, you know, the provider, and preparing to build a future and stuff like that. Of course, even as the lady, but there's that pressure, by the way, to just, like, you know, make ends meet. And what I can say, what to expect is, if you don't communicate well with your partner, then there's going to be strain and suffering just because you're not talking to each other. Like, if they're going through a situation, they're feeling quote unquote inadequate, or they're feeling like, you know, they're not doing their best, things are not working out, talk.
So what happens to those who don't have a partner yet?
Even if you don't have a partner, talk to someone. Talk to your siblings, talk to your cousins, talk to someone who you're comfortable with. Just try it out.
I'll boardroom here.
Yeah.
You haven't?
But that one, it's more of just sharing it, so that from people's responses, you can realize you're not in this alone. I think it's just about reminding yourself that there are a whole 20 million plus of us going through this. Also, just be thankful for your education, for your success, and just remind yourself that you'll get through this. Fear is another thing that fear is another thing to expect, but don't let it weigh you down.
Right.
Like maybe you used to fear about the exams. Now you're at the point where you've passed and you've graduated. That's all in the past. So remind yourself that there'll be those fearful times where you don't know, okay, how am I going to make ends meet? How am I going to plan something special for my partner? Let's say if you're in a relationship, how are we going to bond a bit more? Maybe this one has started working, this one is not working. How are we going to make things work and mesh each other's worlds? Just talk about it. Yeah, don't stay alone. These days there are even, there was something I was hearing on the radio, I've forgotten, like some site where you can just talk to someone if you're feeling low. Yeah,
you should find out about it.
Imagine if you don't have someone to talk to, go to those sites and talk to someone. They'll remind you that you're not in this alone. Yeah, expect fear, sometimes you'll feel low, sometimes you'll feel inadequate, sometimes you'll feel like things are just not making sense.
Right.
But please just talk about it. Pray if you pray. If you're a prayerful person, if you're not a prayerful person, start praying. Yeah.
Thank you so much, guys, for sticking towards the end of the video. I think the biggest takeaway I've gotten from Beryl is just letting go of fear. Like sometimes you just gotta let go and let go, because I guess there's only the Supreme Being who can be in charge of what's gonna happen to our lives during this stage that we are at. So just a reminder, there's a 10% discount off if you use the code JOY. You can just come in and say hi. I'd like to order dessert and I'm gonna use Joy's code. Or if you have any other questions, you can just DM me. Courtesy of Culture Cafe. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next video.